what else are people not thinking about?
Well, one thing I would just point out here that, again, maybe this is cleaning up from the beginning of the conversation, but Eric and I have a little advantage, which is that we don't have two different languages. Eric speaks math in a way that I don't speak it, but because we've been keeping up with each other intellectually on stuff that matters, there is no distance to cover when, if I need to define some term in some new way in order to address some problem, I can just say, here's the definition I need you to temporarily accept. So that is a kind of a model for something that we need to bootstrap where people don't have a sibling relationship that would cause that kind of alignment. And the necessary tools involve high degrees of tolerance, the assumption that somebody, this is an assumption that does not work on Twitter, but the assumption that somebody is making sense. And if it sounds like what they're saying does not make sense, then you haven't understood it correctly yet. They may be wrong, but they're not saying something.
Well, you want to talk about double island rule?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So a friend of ours, Mike Brown, would lend us his island, and we would run a science camp on this island.
A friend would lend you the island.
He's a good friend.
It's a good island.
An amazing guy. And
Okay.
no, this is like our adopted uncle.
Okay.
Just a very wise man. And he was the CFO of Microsoft and ran the NASDAQ. And one of the rules on the island is that if you had a group of really interesting people, you had to have two rules. You had to have two rules in order to have a productive discussion. One is that a very smart person who was saying something obvious should be assumed to be saying something subtle until proven otherwise. And that an intelligent person who is saying something that is wrong should be assumed to be saying something counterintuitive until proven otherwise. And that those two rules cleaned up a lot of confusions. So there are these like hacks and tricks to make sure that your conversations don't get bogged down in displays of ego.